Hello and welcome to another educative episode of the Cable Plus Property Show, brought to you by Cable Plus Property, your #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed properties. My name is Oiza, and as you already know, this is where you get first-hand information on everything related to building construction, documentation, registration, and obtaining your planning permit. Enforcement of planning laws and regulations is what homeowners and developers often detest. In fact, they frown at when they have the sign X marked with red paint in front of their property. So that is why the guest in the studio today, Town Planner Dr. Olasheni, will be educating us on how these rules and regulations are enforced. Come with me. Town Planner Dr. Abubakar Mobolaji Olasheni obtained his PhD and MSc in Transport with specialization in Transport Systems, Planning and Management at the LASBCA Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye. He is also a graduate of Yaba College of Technology and the Polytechnic Ibadan, specializing in urban planning. He attended an international executive course on organizing for a competitive local economy, institutional strategies and approaches in the Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies, Erasmus University in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. He was employed as higher instructor in 1984, but is presently a chief lecturer in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Yaba College of Technology, having served as the head of department in 2003, Pioneer Director of Internal Quality Assurance Unit in 2009, and former Deputy Director Academics and Research in 2010. He is a member of Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, a registered town planner, member Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Corporate Administration of Nigeria, a member of the NITP Top Rec Examinations Board from 2006 to 2012, NITP Journal Board 2003, and Editor-in-Chief Publications Committee of NITP Lagos State Chapter in 2013. He co-founded Vista Plan Consulting, a firm of urban and regional planners, Vista Research and Data Services Limited, Vista Plan Projects Limited, and City Learning Hub Limited. He is currently an Associate Senior Lecturer at the University of Lagos, Department of Urban and Regional Planning. He is a consultant to the Lagos State Government on Oshodi Solo Model City Plan 2013, Badagry Sub-Region Master Plan Review 2021, and Iba Oloja 2021. He's a consultant to the Redeemed Christian Church of God on Physical Planning and Redemption Camp Master Plan. Join me, dear viewer, to welcome on the Cable Plus Property Show, Town Planner Dr. Olasheni Mobolaji Abubakar. Okay, sir, let's get started. My first question is, what are illegal developments according to the Lagos State Building Control Regulations, and how can illegal buildings be identified?
Thank you very much. Illegal developments, according to the regulation, Lagos State Building Control Agency Regulation of 2019, are developments that do not obtain necessary approval from the government agency, particularly LASBCA. Before you embark on any development, and by the way, development can be defined as act of building, operation on, under, over land, and even mining operation. Even stacking refuse is defined as development, as little as that. So, for you to embark on any physical development on the land, you have to obtain planning permission. If you do not obtain planning permission, it doesn't matter how big the property is, it doesn't matter where the property is located, it's deemed to be illegal. It doesn't matter how much you have spent on putting up the property, it's illegal. What makes it illegal is that you went ahead without consulting the statutory agencies, without informing, without letting them know your intention, and without obtaining their permission, their go-ahead to put up such structure. So every development that falls under that category, they are regarded as illegal development.
So what are the things that helps one to identify a development that is termed illegal?
Yeah, you may not be able to say that a particular development is illegal without actually having to interrogate the people behind that development. For example, if you get to a particular site, you will meet workmen, or you meet the developer or the owner of the property. If it's a property that is under construction, you have the right as an authorized agent of government or authorized officer of government to ask questions as to what papers, what approvals, what permits do they possess to put up such structure. So if they are unable to satisfactorily answer or provide documentary evidence as to the fact that, yes, they have followed the necessary processes and procedures to obtain this approval, then you know that this one is illegal. There are some that, mere looking at them, you know that this one is illegal. But for you to be seen to be legal, doing legal work, you must ask questions. Everything must be based on evidence. It must be evidential. You will ask questions, enter the property, ask questions, and based on the response and outcome of the interrogation and the interaction, you will now make up your mind that this property is illegal.
Thank you for that explanation, sir. What is the meaning of the rule of law? We often hear this from lawyers especially. And by extension, sir, what is the meaning of the rule of planning law, particularly in the built environment?
Yeah, the rule of law specifically is talking about the fact that one is expected to know the law, obey the law, follow the law. Where people do not know the law, follow the law, obey the law, then there is no rule of law. For everything under the sun, there is law. It is left for you and I to understand the law, the tenets of the law, and follow and obey and do your own bit, your own obligation of the law. Where you do not want to understand the law, or submit yourself or subject yourself to the operation of the law, then there's going to be a problem. So over the years, and concerning some people, they find it difficult to obey the law. And where you find it difficult to obey the law, there will be anarchy, there will be crisis. So in the built environment, where people decide to not obey the law, not to follow the rule of law, then you have crisis in the environment. You have crisis in the environment, and you have chaos in the environment. And that is why you have incidences of building collapse, building distress, and all the stuff like that. So it is where you don't follow the rule of law that you have these kind of issues.
So how does this relate to planning in particular?
Yeah, planning is not an individual thing. Planning is a collective responsibility of the citizenry. You may say, in a layman language, planning, physical planning, right, is location of activities in the space that is on the ground, and allocation of spaces or sizes, okay, to those activities. So, for example, residential, that is where dormitories, where people live, residential, where people live, is an activity on the land space. So, as in planning, you try to identify the possible locations for such activities, and you allocate land for such activities. That is planning, physical planning, pure and simple. So where you have this kind of arrangement, it is expected that everybody would, participate and will do things not to offend any other person, but not to take advantage of any other person. You do your bit, you allow others to do their own bit. That is where the rule of law comes in this kind of a circumstance. But where you think that you don't want to understand the law, you want to obey the law, you want to do things by yourself, according to your own dictate, without minding whether it's going to be injurious to a third party or to another person, then you'll be flouting the rules of the law.
So speaking of flouting laws, sir, can we then say disobeying the law has consequences? And if yes, what is the nature of these consequences?
Of course, disobedience to the law of the land, has consequences. And in relating it to physical planning, if you do not obtain the necessary permit and you go ahead to build, there are consequences. The consequences are numerous. Your property could be marked. You could be asked to stop work because you have contravened. You could be asked to stop work. You could be asked to, the property could be sealed. These are consequences. Though it could be unsealed later, that is after you have met the necessary requirements of the law. And if it is a property that needs to be adjusted, to be modified, certain sections of the property needs to be demolished, of course. And if the entire property has to be put down, demolished, of course it will, because you have decided not to, you have flouted the law, you have decided not to obey the law. Those are some of the consequences. There could be other consequences. You could be asked to pay fines. You could be asked to pay fines in addition to your building being demolished. So the consequences are enormous. They are great. So it is important for one to really obey the law, follow the law, and there will be peace.
We're still speaking about planning law. What is the rationale behind the principle of innocent until proven guilty? And is it applicable to all situations of infringement of the law? Can we apply the phrase innocent until proven guilty to all situations? And what does it really mean in its context?
You say you cannot say that somebody is guilty of an omission or commission without investigation. If one is seen to have gone contrary to the law, it's an allegation. You start with an allegation. That allegation must be proven. There must be evidences that indeed the allegation is actually that you have run contrary to the provisions of the law. So there must be investigation, and if the investigation proves that you have actually run contrary to the rule of the law, then there will be consequences. So you cannot give verdict. You cannot pronounce verdict without actually carrying out investigation. So you cannot be declared guilty prior to investigation. So if there's an allegation, you test the allegation, carry out investigation to confirm that allegation or otherwise, and whatever consequence, whatever punishment that has to be meted to such a person, that punishment will be meted to that person. That is after you have confirmed that indeed the offenses have been committed, the crime has been committed.
So can we then say that this is applicable to every situation, even when it's glaring that the said developer or homeowner has flouted the rules, but we cannot hold him guilty because we haven't carried out investigation or done research or interrogated people to really know that, oh, this person has committed this offense?
Oh, you have to be sure. You must be convinced beyond every reasonable doubt that there is an infraction, there is an infringement, there is a contravention. The starting point is for you to determine that there is a contravention. And if there is a contravention, Because having visited the property, asked some few questions, basic questions, you will know that indeed there is a contravention. And if there is a contravention, you go through the process. You ask them to stop work. You issue a stop work order on that property. And then you ask them to submit whatever documents that they have. If they have documents indeed, they will bring the documents. If they don't have documents, they won't have anything to show for it. Then the law can take its course along the line.
Thank you very much for that, sir. In physical development, most people violate the rules. They don't comply with planning laws. How applicable is this principle, innocent until proven guilty, in this very ugly situation?
It's applicable because you may run foul of the law if you, jump the processes. You must be
That is
sure.
the prosecutor now.
Yes, you must be sure. You must be sure beyond every reasonable doubt that the fellow that has been alleged has actually committed that offense. There are procedures. You must follow that procedure so that the fellow that is alleged is given fair hearing. You must allow him to express himself, to bring to the table the documents that he possesses, and you now decide whether the documents are genuine or fake before you pronounce any judgment. So you cannot rush into giving a kind of judgment if you are not satisfied, if you have not done the right thing, if you have not asked the right question, you have not demanded for the right documents, the right permits, you cannot jump to a conclusion. One of the conclusions that you are likely going to jump into is that, oh, it's an illegal development. Let us seal it up. Let's demolish it. You know, by the time you take such decisions, and you invariably you now discover that that property has all the necessary documents, then it will be too late to reverse it. So that is why it is important to follow the steps stage by stage before you come to a conclusion that, okay, this is what should be done as kind of a punishment or deterrent to others who might want to follow the same kind of route, okay, in physical development.
Okay, sir, don't you think this would give offenders effrontery when they know that, okay, if I commit an offense, I cannot just be taken to court, or my property cannot just be sealed? There's a process that this prosecutors must follow, and we know that an average human being, when they know that, okay, there are processes to a thing, they might want to take advantage of that to commit, offenses. Don't you think it will give them the effrontery to go on with disobedience of the laws?
Yes, the effrontery is there, but whoever flouts the law pays the penalty. It doesn't matter how long it takes to get to the bottom of the matter. The fact remains that once you get all the necessary facts, the punishment is waiting for the offender. That is why I will plead with the public, before they embark on any physical development, they must ask the experts questions. Ask questions. Go to the experts, ask them questions. We have a lot of people that are in this kind of a net. They see others doing it, and they see them getting away with it, or thinking that they are getting away with it. The arm of the law is very long. It will catch up one day. So rather than you waiting until the day the long arm of the law will catch up with you, it's better you do the needful. Before you buy any property, ask questions. Get planning information. Talk to the town planners. Ask around. Go to the town planning office. Ask questions. There is nothing wrong in you asking questions. Investigation. Find out. Facts finding before you embark on any purchase of land or physical development. Because at the end of the day, government is not asleep. Government may be slow. Government machinery may be slow. But it will catch up one day. So the best thing for you is to do the right thing accordingly.
Thank you very much, sir, for hitting the nail on the head. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back on the show.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Welcome back. This is still the Cable Plus Property Show, and I have with me in the studio today Town Planner Dr. Olasheni Mobolaji Abubakar. Enforcement of planning law is the only planning activity that the public knows, particularly in the area of marking, sealing, like you mentioned, and removal of illegal structures. Now, our viewers would like to be educated on the legal procedure, or we'll say tools, that the government control agencies or enforcement agencies use to deal with contravening buildings under the physical planning and building control regulations. So in light of this, I would like you, sir, to explain the following terms in very simple language. And the first one is contravention notices. What are contravention notices?
Thank you very much. The word contravention notice has to do with when a developer or an owner or a builder puts up a structure that contravenes, that is at variance, that does not respect the provisions of the law. Then you will say that, or you come to the conclusion that that developer or that builder or that accredited representative of the owner has contravened. And once that has been established, you issue a contravention notice. This contravention notice must be in writing, signed and dated and delivered either to the owner, the builder, or any accredited representative on the site. In case none of them is available when you detect that contravention essentially is an illegal development, you may decide to put that notice on the wall or on any physical space, any physical thing on the site,
on that development.
And for you to actually have evidence, because there are instances where the developer, when they come, they will remove the notice that has been pasted. So for you to have evidence, you will take photograph of that pasting to let everybody know when the time comes that you have followed the due process. So once you have there is a contravention, the next thing that you do, and you are sufficiently satisfied that indeed this property is an illegal development, the next thing you do is just to issue them a stop work order.
Okay, yeah, that is the next term I was going to ask you to explain, sir.
You issue a stop work order. And what is a stop work order? Simple. It's saying that this construction that you are embarking upon must be stopped, and stopped immediately. So stop work order means that you must stop further construction. The level that you have reached, don't go further than that level until we resolve certain issues, or until we are cleared that this development has not contravened the provisions of the law.
Thank you very much, sir. And the next is quit notice.
Okay. Yeah, quit notice could be addressing two different scenarios.
Is it the same like the one landlords give to their tenants?
In this case, we are talking about development and processes of development.
Okay.
Quit notice is actually quit notice. That is removing or asking somebody to leave where that fellow is actually either residing or that fellow is presently.
Okay.
Essentially, in this case, as regards to this question, quit notice has to do with if there is a property that is distressed, a property that has not followed the necessary procedure, you can ask, you can issue a quit notice. A quit notice can be issued for such kind of infraction. If the property is distressed and you don't want to suffer a kind of collapse, you can issue a quit notice.
Okay. The next is seal off order. Seal off order.
Okay. You can seal a property if it's an illegal development. You can issue a notice to the developer, and that property will be sealed off. And when you issue the notice, okay, the notice, when it is issued, is a kind of a notice issued on an illegal development after 72 hours of service of a seal-up notice. So when you issue that notice, the property will be sealed up within 72 hours. What that means is that no operation, no activity, no construction must take place further until a resolution of the factors leading to the issuance of a seal-up notice.
Unfortunately, I go around the city of Lagos, and to be honest, I see some constructions where it is clearly written on the walls or the gates, sealed, and construction is still ongoing in the said piece of land.
You know, Nigeria is a country where impunity rules, impunity thrives. It's an aberration if a property is sealed. In fact, when you get to such property, it will be written there, sealed by the Lagos State government, and they will put the date of issuance of such a notice. Funny enough, right inside that property, you will see workers carrying on as if nothing has happened. It's impunity. Unfortunately, we have people in this country that think that they are untouchables. Aside from that, you have people that are experts in name dropping. They will tell you, I'm a friend of the governor, I'm governor's brother, governor's sister, and then we have sorted out this matter, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. That is why properties are sealed up, and the developer or the builder or the agent has the effrontery to unseal. And they continue to work, and the property, and the government officials will come back and reseal the property, put dates, and these people still have the effrontery. They will unseal and keep on developing. Now, what happens? There must be a deterrent. There must be a punishment. There must be government must come up with a kind of an arrangement where whoever flouts that kind of law, that kind of intervention of government must face the law. So the problem that we have is that it's not that the planning agencies are not doing their work; they are doing their work, but we have people in this country who thrives on impunity. Again, I need to mention this, that yes, government agencies are doing their work, but government agencies are understaffed. You look at Lagos, accommodating more than 10% of the population of Lagos, population of Nigeria. Nigeria as of today is about 220 million. Lagos, if you look at the statistics of UN and some other international development partners, is almost 25 million. And everybody wants to come to Lagos. Everybody wants to have a property in Lagos. And that is why people don't bother, they don't look around, they don't ask questions, they just jump because they want to have a property in Lagos. And you now have officials that are very few, chasing so many developments. And because of that, you may not be able to cover as many as you need to cover. But as long as the officials are on their duty, on their toes, they will eventually get those properties that are illegal. And by the time such properties are found, there will be apprehension.
No matter how long it takes.
No matter how long it takes.
Okay. The next on my list is demand notice.
Okay. Yeah, demand notice, from the word demand, indicates that there are certain things you want to know from the developer.
Okay.
So you issue that kind of a notice. Maybe you want to find out whether it has approval. You have to demand for it in writing. You want to find out whether it has a state certification. You have to demand for it. So demand notice is quite common when the government agency serves a demand notice. It has to do with requesting for all risk insurance certificate, because these properties, this construction, the processes has to be insured. Any property that is above 2 floors,
okay,
there must be all risk general insurance, and you must. So when you are issuing that notice, the essence is for you to obtain, to see whether they have insurance certificate, in case there is any infraction, in case there is any problem, in case there is any maybe collapse when the construction is going on. It does happen that a particular section of the building might fall down.
Yeah.
Somebody, a workman can fall down from the top floor, so there must be a certificate of insurance. So when you issue demand notice, you are trying to ask, trying to know that they have insurance, general all risk insurance, and they have insurance certificate.
What happens in a case where a demand notice is issued and the developer is unable to provide the documents requested for?
Very good. If a developer is unable to meet the requirements or the demand stated in the notice, you give the developer the opportunity and time,
okay,
to get those information ready. For example, if he started construction without approval, let him know these are the steps to take. Until you get the approval, you cannot go beyond the level that you are. And you educate him on what to do. Get your survey, get the drawings, put them together, get your tax receipts, then go to the LASBCA office, any of the branch offices, and take those documents there until you are able to get the permit. You cannot. So you need to educate them. You need to enlighten them. Give them time to be able to do, provide the necessary documentation that is required.
Okay. Regularization notice, and lastly, demolition notice. I would like you to take that together, sir.
Okay. Regularization is talking about the fact that what you have done is out of regulation, out of what is supposed to be.
Oh.
So you are given the opportunity to rewrite whatever wrongs that you have done. Okay. And the last one that you talked about,
demolition notice.
Demolition notice. Now, when there is contravention and you have been issued, maybe government discovers that even the property that you have put on is looking distressed, has not followed the necessary construction regulation, And it's like this property can come down at any moment. So the government will issue demolition notice. And the government will allow you to demolish it under guidance. You have to apply for demolition, right? And under guidance, the property will be demolished. But where you now refuse to demolish the property, government will come after expiration of the days, based on what you have in the regulation. Government will come and will demolish, but you are the one that will pay for the expenses incurred by government in demolishing that property.
Wow. It's almost the same with the owner or the developer demolishing themselves, if they are going to have to carry the costs for the government.
Exactly. So it's better if you are giving the demolition notice, just go ahead, obey the law, get it demolished. Wow. Otherwise, if you refuse, government will come and whatever they charge you is what you are going to, and that is double jeopardy. You are losing the building, and you are paying for penalty. So that's about that concerning demolition notice.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I think it shouldn't get to that point if we do the right thing. If you ask the experts, those who are knowledgeable, you won't get to the end of the road. By the time you should be enjoying your property, you have served demolition notice. So why don't you just save yourself of that kind of a nuisance, that kind of a bad news, and do the right thing. And the opportunities are there. And I think our society should be a reading society. These regulations, these laws are there. They are there for everybody to see, to read. So we just take opportunity, take pain to read those laws and see the ones that is applicable to you, and you just decide to obey it.
What are the methods of serving the notices according to the Legal State Building Control Regulations?
Oh, thank you very much for that question. The method is that the authorized official of government visits the site and, having prepared the notice in writing, signed and dated, and indicate the offenses or the infringement in that notice, you hand it over to the developer on the site, or the owner, or his accredited representative. He will collect the notice and sign for it. But I want to tell you that some of them will not want to take that notice. They won't want to sign for it.
Especially the demolition notice.
So where you are confronted with that kind of a situation, you look for a very conspicuous place on the site and you will paste that notice there, whether it's contravention notice, whether it's stop work order, whether it's quit notice, whether it's demolition notice, whether it's demand notice. You paste it there and you make sure that you take photograph of the notice that has been pasted as evidence that indeed, yes, you have served them. If you do that, then it is deemed that you have served the notice.
Wow. Under what conditions should each of the notices we've talked about so far be served, and what is the expiration of each of the notices before another one is served?
Yeah, if contravention notice is just 72 hours.
72 hours,
Yeah,
3 days.
When you serve contravention notice, for them to respond.
Okay.
Stop work order is immediate. Once you are served stop work order, for example, contravention notice saying that, okay, we discover that something is going on here. Can you just please let us know what documents you have and stuff like that? You give them maybe 72 hours. But stop work order is immediate. Once you are asked to stop work, you stop work, and you now see how you can remedy whatever. But quit notice, I mean, I think that one is 7 days. 7 days for you to respond. And this other, the actual
demolition.
Demolition is once you are served demolition notice, you just have to comply. Because it has gotten to the point where that structure cannot stand. That is why you are asked to demolish. So you just have to, engage the government officials at every step, in every notice that is served. You have to engage government officials to actually know what the law is talking about. You must be informed about what the law is talking about. You must know the duration of a particular notice for you to be able to comply with the content of that notice.
So for stop work order, for example, the number of days that comes with the notice, is it to until the person replies or responds to the notice, or for the action to be carried out?
Yeah, if you are asked to stop work, it means that the notice is immediate. You stop work. Once you stop work, then you engage the officials, you engage the government. It could take 5 days, it could take 10 days, it could take 20 days for you to be able to right the wrongs. Because why you are asked to stop work is because you have not done the needful. So it's until you do the needful, right, you may not be able to progress further.
So my next question is, what is the significance of the red mark X on a building, and when should a building be marked? Also, are all buildings marked X due for demolition? You know, if I walk around, you know, Lagos, and you see some buildings and right in front of the gates or on the wall is that big letter X. What is the significance of it? What does it mean? And should all buildings carry this mark? And if that mark appears on the building, does it mean that building should be demolished?
What it signifies is that this development is illegal. Stop work. That is what the X mark means. In some other climes, they don't put the red X mark. They only write stop work on a white background.
Okay.
And they will paste it. That is neater than putting X, a red X mark. What that is saying is that this property is an illegal property. This property has contravened, and it must stop work until the resolution of whatever is to be resolved. So when you see them all over, what they are saying is not that this building is to be demolished.
Okay.
Or this building is to be confiscated. It's saying that we suspect that this building has contravened the provisions of the law. Therefore, stop work and see us in the office with the documents that you have, or if you have a permit and the drawings, you show us in the office. So if a developer is able to clear with the government officials that he has all it takes to start construction, the mark will be removed.
Okay.
The mark is supposed to be removed by the government that has put the mark, not the developer. Where you see developers clearing the marks, covering the marks, it means that they have not done the
right thing.
The right thing is for the official that has put the red mark to come back, having been satisfied that the developer has done the needful, that is, has brought the documents, not bribe, has brought the documents. Because people think that once you see that mark, they say, no, these guys, they are hungry. Particularly if the mark is placed on Friday, it's that, oh, they are looking for weekend
money.
Weekend money. It is not like that. What that mark is saying is that this property is suspected that it has contravened, and it must not continue because it could be disastrous. So what needed to be done is for the property, the development to stop at the level that it is right now and resolve whatever outstanding issues before they can be given a clean bill of health to continue. X mark doesn't mean that the building is going to be demolished. If a building is going to be demolished, it will be indicated that this building is to be demolished. It will be indicated.
So an X mark can always be taken off if all things have been settled between the developer and the government.
Of course, it's saying that we are not sure that you have the permit.
Okay.
Show us the permit, then you continue.
In pursuit of a better and sustainable built environment, we all have to obey the laws and follow rules and regulations. I'm sure you're nodding your head in agreement with me that Cable Plus Property has come to change the narrative. That was an exciting, interesting and educative section with Town Planner Dr. Olasheni Mobolaji Abubakar. He's a former Deputy Rector Academics, Yaba College of Technology, as well as the consultant planner in the review of the Badagry Master Plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. It's free, you don't have to pay for it. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share with family, friends and colleagues, and also head on to our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook at Cable Plus Property. My name is Oiza and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.